Hello and welcome to today's online training on emotional intelligence as it applies to both your personal and professional life. First, let's get some definitions right. So, what is emotional intelligence? In working with emotional intelligence, Daniel Goleman in 1998 writes that emotional intelligence is or refers to the capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves, and for managing emotions well in ourselves and in our relationships. It's about how you feel, how others around you feel. Knowledge of EI helps you identify what feels good and bad and how to change. Maintaining an emotional awareness and sensitivity and developing the skills that will help you to stay positive. And it's a dynamic process of learning skills to understand yourself and others. The original theory of EI actually was first identified and developed by two American psychologists, Peter Salovey and John Mayer, who in 1990 defined this as a learned ability to perceive, understand, and express our feelings accurately, and to control our emotions so that they work for us, not against us. EI helps us to understand how we feel and how others around us feel. It gives us the knowledge to understand what feels good and what feels bad and how we can change. It helps us to maintain an emotional awareness and sensitivity to develop the skills to help maintain a positive outlook. And that it is a dynamic process of learning skills to understand yourself and others. So emotional intelligence essentially will help us to identify or perceive emotions. So the ability to accurately recognize emotions is the most basic EI skill. So the better the emotional read you have on a situation, the more appropriately you can respond to it. It is difficult, if not impossible, to recover from faulty emotional data. Basing actions on incorrect information is a recipe for disaster. You need to be aware of your own and others' feelings and emotions in order to have accurate data and information about the world around you. So being aware of others' emotions is critical to building a successful workplace environment and quality interpersonal relationships. Imagine what it would be like to work with a colleague or be in a romantic relationship with someone who is oblivious to your feelings, never noticing them, never asking about them. Emotional intelligence also helps us to use emotions to facilitate thought. So what does that mean? How we feel influences how we think. Using or generating emotions refers to knowing which moods are best for different situations and getting into the right mood. More specifically, this skill allows you to employ your feelings to enhance the cognitive system, thinking, and as such can be harnessed for more effective problem solving, reasoning, decision making, and creative endeavors. Of course, cognition can be disrupted by extreme negative emotions, such as anxiety and fear, but emotions also can prioritize the cognitive system to attend to what is important and even focus on what does best in a given moment, or a given mood, rather. So by way of example, if you are feeling sad, you may view the world one way, while if you feel happy, you will interpret the same events differently. Indeed, research shows that people in a sad or negative mood tend to focus on details and search for errors, whereas those in a more positive mood are better at generating new ideas and novel solutions to problems. Understand emotions is another thing that EI helps us to do well. Emotions contain information, and our ability to understand this information and think about it plays an important role in our day-to-day life. The first component of understanding emotions includes knowledge of the emotional lexicon, including simple and complex emotion terms, and the ways in which emotions combine, for example, anger and disgust from contempt, progress, annoyance to anger to rage, and transition to one another. This skill also involves the capacity to analyze emotions and their causes, and the ability to predict how people will feel and reach, or rather react, in different situations. This skill answers such questions as, why are we feeling anxious? If I say this to my friend, how will he feel? What will happen if I say that to her? EI also helps us manage emotions. The ability to regulate moods and emotions in oneself and in other people constitute the fourth domain of EI. When managing one's own feelings, people must be able to monitor, discriminate, and label their feelings accurately, believe that they can improve or otherwise modify these feelings, employ strategies that will alter their feelings, and assess the effectiveness of these strategies. If emotions contain information, then ignoring this information means that we may end up making a poor decision. It's as simple as that. So at times we need to say, or we need to remain open to our feelings, learn from them, and use them to take appropriate action. Other times, however, it is better to disengage from an emotion and return to it later. For instance, anger, like many emotions, is a misunderstood emotion. Anger is not necessarily a bad thing to feel. In fact, it is anger which helps us to overcome adversity, bias, and injustice. Anger arises when we feel frustrated, cheated, or taken advantage of, yet anger, if left to itself, can blind us and cause us to act in a negative or antisocial ways. On the other hand, let's see what emotional intelligence isn't. As stated previously, emotional intelligence is about our feelings and emotions and how we use them and develop them. Emotional intelligence is not about our cognitive intelligence or IQ. It isn't about our skills and aptitudes, and it isn't about what we have achieved or how we are perceived.